The River Stour is the second largest river in Kent. It originates as the Great Stour in Lenham and flows towards and through Canterbury and then on towards the sea at Pegwell Bay. There is a right of navigation on the river from Canterbury to the sea. After 2 weirs above Fordwich, the river becomes tidal. So why are so many rivers called Stour? The name Stour has existed since 686 AD, suggesting the name which the rivers now bear was probably given to it by the Saxons, who called at least 3 English rivers by that name. One is in Warwickshire, a second in East Anglia, and the third one which flows through Canterbury. The name Stour means stirring or moving. The Great Stour is 40 miles long and is navigable below Canterbury. Well, welcome to the David Wilson Out and About YouTube channel. Well, this is another day out on the paddle. I've been on the water for 3.5 hours already. I paddled from Grove Ferry upstream to Fordwich, taking me 3.5 hours with a couple of stop-offs, and I'm now doing the return journey. Fortunately, it looks like I've still got the tide in my favour, and when the wind blows, judging by the way up, I'll have that in my favour, so it'll be behind me, so it should be an awful lot shorter trip on the way back. If you haven't seen that video, more than welcome to go back and see it. It'll just be entitled, it'll probably be a 2-parter, but it will be Grove Ferry to Fordwich on the Kentish Stour. So yes, and all I'm doing now, I'm taking the opportunity to video or record the return journey, and I will be stopping off for a spot of lunch on the way back because I'm getting a little bit hungry now. Well, even without paddling, I'm probably moving along at about 2 miles an hour. That's just with the current. The wind's dropped at the moment, so that should make for a very, very pleasant return journey. I didn't check the tides. It doesn't cause too much of a problem on this section. When I first came out on it 3 years ago, I was trying to make sure I got the timing correct and it just didn't work out. I did everything that I believe was right to follow the tides, and it just wasn't the way they said it was, so I've just come out ad hoc and just get on with the paddle. Someone's doing a bit of strimming or mowing in the background. I don't know if you can hear it. There it goes. Oh yeah, right. Certainly going along at a fair speed. Oh yeah. Oh, this is an awful lot easier than on the way upstream. I had quite a battle on my hands at times, so this is very, very pleasant. And staring into the water is absolutely beautiful. Seeing the weed go along with the current and the fish. Righto. Well, it's Tuesday the 22nd of August, it's 1:35, and so yes, I'm out for an afternoon paddle now, so hopefully with stop off probably 2.5 hours. I'm going to have a 15-20 minute stop off for coffee and a sandwich that I've packed, and then I'll make the final section back, because I've travelled up to Grove Ferry, which is just outside Canterbury, from my home in North Kent, so it's about 60 miles. So, you know, 120 mile round trip. No biggie, but it adds another hour, hour and a quarter onto my journey once I got packed away. So this is really like an all-dayer with the up and back paddle. Well, when the sun's out, it's directly behind me, so I don't really want to start turning this camera towards myself and trying to speak with you. It'll just basically white out. So it'll be footage that I'll have to bin. So I'm just going to keep the camera trained forward, and then at the end of the day, who wants to see my ugly mug when you can get these views? This is absolutely stunning section of river, crystal clear water. You can literally see more or less down to the bottom, and at times you can really see a lot of big fish sort of just swimming by, or if you're looking close to the banks in the shallows but in the shade, there's some quite big fish in here, some big old pike. Just passing the spot that in 2020 I stopped. I had to give up trying to get to Fordwich because I had a wrist strain and my wrist was hurting. But at least today I've finally completed that paddle. 3 years later. 3 years to the month. There's quite a few fishing sleeps to the right of me here on this section. However, I did notice on the way up, absolutely no one's out fishing. So, but you've got to be aware that, obviously, you know, similar to me, I don't dress up like Mr. Blobby in pink outfits. I tend to sort of wear colours that fit in with the landscape, greys and greens and browns. And so do fishermen. A lot of the time they're camo, so it's very, very difficult to see them on the bank, let alone their lines and their rods. So, keep your eyes peeled, people. Don't upset the poor old anglers. Be nice. Well, the sun's behind the cloud and these trees at the moment, so I thought I'd turn the camera so you can see my ugly old mug. Oh. Beautiful when it's in the shade. Quite torturous when you're in the open and the sun's blazing down on you. But there you go. I've got sun factor 50 on, so I should be okay. Well, on the way up from Fordwich, hat blew off twice in the wind, and I had to paddle back and retrieve it. But it was actually nice putting it on soaking wet, because it's still hot, even though it got overcast and very blowy. It was still very hot. All told, a beautiful day. On the way up from Grove Ferry, it did pass up quite a considerable amount of people in canoes and kayaks, hire kayaks and canoes, paddling down from Fordwich. More so from on this section from Fordwich to the lake, to the tidal lake. A lot of them tend to sort of turn around and bring it back. Those that continue all the way down to Grove Ferry, because it's a fair old trip, fair old distance, they can get a lift back. So basically the, I think it's called Canoe Wild, they do a transfer between the two. So you can just paddle one way, either way, and get yourself back to your car. Because this is quite a journey. If you're like me, if you're doing, this is the return for me, if you're doing out and back, it's quite a paddle. You're looking in the region of 10 to 12 miles, maybe slightly more, depending, like me, if you just go off at a tangent and go down the little tributaries and sometimes paddle past the finish point. But we're making good speed, a good head on the way back, so let's crack on for a bit and I'll bring you back in a minute. Oh, let's leave it running, going through these willows. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? The willows are just hanging over the river on both sides. peace and quiet. I seem to have left all the day trippers behind me now, although I'm sure I'll find a few when I get down the other end. It's nice to see people out enjoying the river. You know, it's a great hobby, it's a great pastime, kayaking or canoeing. I absolutely love getting out in the water. It's good for the heart, good for the soul. Moderate exercise, well, you make of it what you want, and can really clear your mind. See kingfishers in front of me. You won't be able to see them quite away, and this camera won't pick them up. Well, as I paddle along, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to down paddle and cruise for a bit, and you can just listen to what I'm hearing. Here we go. Isn't that a lovely sound? So peaceful, just a couple of birds and nothing else. Well, I'm back out in my AquaTec Ottawa Pro today. Absolutely love this kayak. It's so stable. It glides nicely through the water. It just feels solid and sleek. That's the only way to describe it. And the more I paddle it, the more I enjoy it. So probably my best purchase kayak wise. I think the Blue Wave Glider was, in its day, it still is a current model, but an absolutely phenomenal kayak. But this is just taking it to a different level as far as I'm concerned. A little family of swans there to the right. Going to slow down, then I'm going to give them a wide berth. So although they probably aren't overly protective now, you never know, you might get a few hisses. Well, they were actually really good with me. I went by quite close, and yeah, no, didn't disturb them at all. Not even a slight hiss or the back going up. Maybe it's because the young uns aren't that young now. They're sort of more able to defend themselves, so the parents are starting to relax a little bit. Oh. What a beautiful day. Come out on the paddle. Right, I have got something new. I did mention it in the first video, but if you haven't seen that, you won't know. I bought a new paddle, and it's a Montego 230. I think it's 230, it might be 220, 250 extendable paddle. It's advertised as carbon fibre. I don't know how they get away with that. It's not a carbon fibre shaft, it's fiberglass. But I'll tell you something, I'm absolutely loving it. I do like a much longer paddle, so 250 is absolutely ideal. It means that the crafts that I'm paddling, even though they track quite well and they're very stable, they track even better with a wider paddle. I had a 230 paddle that I was using on this, and I really wasn't overly happy, but there you go. So yeah, I'll speak more about this paddle once I've had a little bit more use out of it. There's some big old fish in this water. As I was doing the last clip, I kept getting distracted by the fish going underneath the kayak. Not massive, I don't know a massive lot about fish, but I would say that a lot of the ones I've seen have been brown trouts, I believe, and I have definitely seen a couple of perch. No pike as yet, but there is supposed to be some large pike in here as well. But the water's so clear, you can just literally look under and just see the fish swimming along. Oh, you can literally hear a pin drop on this river at the moment. Very, oh, that's a big insect in front. Don't know what that was. If you're a regular to my channel, yes, for the last X amount of months it's all been kayaking. It has to be at the moment because of a few physical health issues, but also you will know that I really do like just me on my own being out and about, whether it be on a walk or like this on a river. And if I again just down paddle for a second, because I've got to take this bend, listen. Now come on, that sorts your head out, gives you the chance to clear your mind and put things into perspective, or just forget, just for a little while, just de-stress, enjoy yourself, and leave all your worries behind. Look at it. Well, I've definitely got the favour of the tide still, although I think we're in that sort of time where everything sort of just levels out just for a little while before the tide turns. But the reeds are facing forward, they're all sort of pointing my way down the river, and obviously once the tide turns they'll should face the other way. Just going through a load now. There's a lot in this river. And it's quite shallow. I'm just looking to the right, literally 6 feet away. I can see it's literally about 2 feet deep, sort of 60 centimeters deep. So yeah, plenty of water to paddle down, but still quite low. But then again, that's probably because the tide is out at the moment. Obviously we're now paddling downstream, so once it turns it should get considerably deeper. I'm hoping I'll get back to Grove Ferry before the tide turns, so I don't have to paddle against it. Wind's dropped as well now, although I would have been quite thankful for it on my back, because on the way up it was directly on me, in my face. But good for recording though, good for audio. I may have mentioned it earlier, when I get down to the tidal lake, which will be on our left, there's a slipway into a field to the right, and I will be stopping there just for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I have got a sandwich with me and a nice flask of ground coffee, which I've had a coffee on the way up, but really not been hungry. I'm not eating for eating's sake. A bit lazy. I made the ground coffee. I just couldn't be asked to make sandwiches this morning. Well, I've got everything indoors, wholemeal bread and cheese, ham, I mean, you name it, I've got it. And I stopped at a garage on the way down, $5.50 for a sandwich. I'll make sure I make my sandwiches in the future. Cool. Well, to my amazement, we're actually approaching the tidal lake now, because I can see the orange buoys to the left. So it's going to get a little bit choppy there, it always is, because it's very exposed. But absolutely stunning views. Should be quite a few swans, and they're young in there. Well, there is, because I see them on the way up. So yeah, we're going to take a good look around there, and then I'm going to stop and have my sarnie. So that's taken about 30 minutes, that section. I'm really pleased with that. But can you see where the water's going? It's called the tidal lake because it comes down this section, and strangely, instead of forking right and carrying on, it goes into the lake, round and back out the other side, because the lake is like a crescent. Yeah, very strange how it goes in there, rather than what I would have thought would take the shorter route or the quicker route to the right. But you can't go in there, but it's beautiful to look in and just, you know, take in the views. A lot calmer than when I came up down here now. And if you look, see, you've got the buoys to the left here, and if you look ahead, straight ahead, you can see some more buoys. Well, that's where the river bends round, and that's where it goes in and out again. Alright, let's go over and have a little look. Obviously you can't go in, there's wire between those buoys. I've seen it before. In fact, I tied up to it on my last trip out here. I had my lunch tied up to a buoy. Lovely looking lake. Plenty of protection for the birds, so the wildlife. Oh, it's nice really, isn't it? Right, let's carry on a little bit. Someone's got a dinghy out to the right here. Let's have a look. So they've actually got out the water. It's not on the slipway, is it? Yes, it is. It's where I wanted to go. I'm still going to go over there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to ground out here. Gently ground out. And then I'm going to have my lunch. There's a family actually in the dinghy. They're eating in the field. That's it, ground out. That's it, lovely. Oh, that's it. I've had a pastrami, gherkin and mustard sandwich. I'll stop moaning now. That was well worth the $5.50. I couldn't have made it like that. I couldn't get out the kayak. That couple and their family, Eastern European family, decided that they were going to take up all the slipway. I could have worked around them, but I couldn't be bothered. I've just eaten, had a coffee, and I've put back out on the water. So here's the other side of the lake. We have a little nose in there. It's pretty quiet. I thought there'd be more swans in there than there is, but I've seen it with hundreds of swans in it. Absolutely fantastic sight. Yeah, maybe we're not in the midday sun, we're at 2:30, but maybe they're actually keeping out the sun now. So peaceful. and windless, unlike when I paddled up this morning. Alright, it's a little bit of back paddling and let's get on our way. That's it. Okay, here we go. Well, for a minute there I had a nice breeze on my back and it was more or less blowing me along. I could really do with that all the way back, but yeah, ain't gonna happen. Right, onwards and upwards. Next stop, Grove Ferry. It's quite a way, quite a few miles, but and there's now nowhere to stop on the way back really, so it's just full steam ahead and get on with it. Now if you look at the width of this river here, which is, you know, it's quite wide, the weed and the reeds are stretching right out to the centre here. I'm just going to go round them, just tip them. So yeah, it's one of those rivers, I'm afraid, and partly that's why I didn't bring the e-fin out. I mean, I was going to bring, I've got it with me, it's in the car, but I thought, hell no, paddle it. You know, you've been out with that a few times, you're playing around with it, which is great, but I wanted to go on the paddle today. I also realised that I would definitely not be able to use it between the tidal lake and Fordwich. So, and even this section, I really have to be careful, really careful. I mean, I can go through this now with my skate because I'm going through the fin a bit. I'm skirting it, but with the e-fin, it'd be picking it up and winding it in. And then what you'd have is a fin full of weed weighing you down and nowhere to swap it out. So there's a time and a place for that, and this is not it. I would have got away with it on this section. I could go right in the middle here and steam along, but like I said, I got here this morning, I thought, no, paddle. Yeah, no electricity today, no help, all off your own steam. Just been checking the time and been on the paddle on the return for an hour and a half now. Yeah, so I basically turned at Fordwich at about 1300 and it's 14:56, so yeah, that's all right, 2 hours. But I'm not in any particular rush. It's not as if it's a winter's evening. Winter's harder because you've got to get yourself sorted out. You've got to get out early, but then early it's dark. So although hopefully this winter I'll experience that, I'm hoping to go out on some winter paddles, which I've not really done. I've done I've done a couple, but they've been in groups, so they weren't filmed. Well, the BA, that's the buoyancy aid, is off, and I don't want any comments about that. It's not a legal requirement, it's up to the individual what they want to do, and at this particular moment I don't want my buoyancy aid on, so that's the end of that. Well, I've got some plans. I mean, in between hospital and clinic appointments for my knees and things like that, and pending my health situation, I'm hoping to get out on the River Stour in Suffolk and Norfolk. Probably not until October. We're now sort of, I think I said earlier, the 22nd of August, maybe early October time. Obviously schools will be well back, And yeah, I've got my eye on it, and I've plotted out some routes, and I've been watching other YouTubers, and so I've got a fair idea of where I want to go and what I want to do. If it's earlier, I might try and do an overnighter camp, but once we start getting into October, I'll take the drive up. I mean, in all fairness, other than the fact I've got to go through the Dartford Tunnel back over the QE2 bridge on the way home, it's the same distance as travelling down here to Grove Ferry. It's just more chance of traffic, and yeah, so a slightly more difficult road situation. But yeah, because you've got the 25 and the A12, I believe, just off the top of my head. But yeah, that's a definite plan. So I'll keep you up to speed on that through my Facebook page, David Wilson Out and About Facebook, and occasionally in the community section on my YouTube channel. Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, it's nice of him. He's slowed down. A decent chap. Well, that's the way it should be. He slowed down for the paddle boarders, and he slowed down for me. It's nice big smile. Shame all boaters aren't like that. If you go back through some of my videos, you'll see what I mean. And I've been out on the River Medway and hit by wash from people going at stupid speeds. There's a couple of people out in their own kayaks. One's a Intex Challenger, and I believe the other one's the Intex Explorer. I used to have an Explorer when I first got back into kayaking, back in probably 2017, 18. Hello there, you alright? Okay? Yeah. Right, I've just slowed down on the approach to Grove Ferry. I'll make my close video here, because once I get to the floating pontoon, it's bound to be busy and there'll be too much distraction, too many people about. So yeah, that's the section Fordwich downstream to Grove Ferry, which is just under this bridge, which you'll see in a minute. Yeah, really nice paddle. Thoroughly enjoyed today. Obviously I've got two videos, maybe three. I think the on the way up may have to be split into two videos, and then this one on the way back. But so I'm well pleased. Quite tired, done a few miles, but I feel really good. I really do. Oh, mate, I'm so glad I came out. I nearly blew it out, kept saying next week, or you know, do it at the weekend, and I've come out and done it, and I'm really pleased with myself. I'm going to sleep well tonight. When I eventually get home, get the footage uploaded, get all excited, see what I've got. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, first video you watched, have a look. There's 150, nearly 160 videos on there of all different sorts, mainly kayaking of recent. But if you are new to the channel, thanks for popping by and watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And to my subscribers, thank you for your continued support. Love you all, love to you all. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.